The email arrived at 10:47 a.m. on a Thursday with the subject line, Martinez wedding venue confirmation and deposit. I opened it absently, assuming it was spam. It wasn't spam. It was an invoice for $15,000 in event services to be rendered at my beach house address, 4158 Ocean Vista Drive, in 6 weeks. My beach house. The one I'd bought 3 years ago after selling my startup. The one with my name alone on the deed. The one my parents had keys to, for emergencies only. The invoice itemized everything. Ceremony tent, $4,200. Reception tent, $5,800. Catering prep, $2,400. Lighting installation, $1,800. Furniture rental, $800. At the bottom, a note. As discussed with property owner Mrs. Rebecca Chen, full access Friday through Sunday, August 18th to 20th. Mrs. Rebecca Chen. My mother. Who was not the property owner. I called the number on the invoice. Elegant Moments Event Planning, this is Sophia. Hi, this is Dr. Maya Chen. I received an invoice for services at 4158 Ocean Vista Drive. I need to clarify something. Who authorized this? Oh, Dr. Chen. Her voice shifted, brightening with recognition. Your mother contacted us 3 weeks ago. She said you generously offered the beach house for your cousin Isabella's wedding. She was so excited about... A pause. Wait. You said you need to clarify something? I didn't offer my beach house for anything. I wasn't asked. I wasn't consulted. The silence stretched for 5 seconds. Then, I need to call you back. She didn't call back. She showed up at my office 90 minutes later. Sophia Ramirez sat across from my desk with a leather portfolio and an expression I recognized from my own mirror. Controlled fury masking deep concern. She was in her mid-30s, professional, and looked like someone who'd just realized they'd walked into a minefield. I need to see your property deed, she said without preamble. I pulled it up on my computer, rotated the screen. She photographed it with her phone, compared it to documents in her portfolio. Your mother presented herself as the property owner, Sophia said carefully. She signed the venue contract. Put down a $5,000 deposit. Gave us full access authorization. She met my eyes. I run background checks on properties for liability insurance. But she had keys. She knew the security codes. She had detailed photos of the interior. Every verification marker indicated legitimate ownership. She's my mother. She has emergency access. That doesn't make her the owner. Sophia nodded slowly. Dr. Chen, I need to ask you something. Do you remember the Children's Hospital Foundation Gala in April? The one at the waterfront estate. The question seemed to come from nowhere. Yes. I donated my event space for their annual fundraiser. Why? That was my event. I coordinated it. She opened her portfolio, pulled out a photo. The gala. The string quartet on the terrace. The silent auction tables under cafe lights. And in the background, clearly visible through the glass doors, my custom bronze sculpture, the abstract wave piece I'd commissioned from a local artist. When I walked through this beach house yesterday for the final site inspection, Sophia continued, I saw that sculpture. Same artist signature. Same distinctive patina. I googled the artist. There are only 12 pieces in this series. The gala venue had one. This beach house has another. She paused. You own both properties. I felt something shift in my chest. Yes. The gala raised $340,000 for pediatric cancer research. You donated the venue, covered the insurance, provided parking attendants. You didn't take a tax write-off. I checked because we offer documentation for donors. You just helped. Her voice softened. And now your family is defrauding you using another property you own. Yes, I said again. Sophia closed her portfolio. I'm canceling the contract. Refunding the deposit. And I'm calling the authorities because what your mother did isn't a family misunderstanding. It's identity fraud and contract misrepresentation. I won't be complicit. That small moment of recognition, of being truly seen by someone who understood the betrayal's scope, cracked something in my chest. But I kept my voice steady. Thank you. I should be thanking you, she said. That gala was my breakthrough event. 3 hospital systems hired me afterward. Your generosity changed my business trajectory. She stood. I'll send you all documentation within the hour. And Dr. Chen? I'm sorry your family is doing this to you. I didn't call my parents immediately. Instead, I built what I later named the ghost ledger. The spreadsheet had 4 columns: event, date, emotional cost, recovery status. Every row was a memory I'd filed away, minimized, told myself, wasn't that bad. Christmas 2021. Announced I'd sold my startup for $4.2 million. Parents' first response: can you help Isabella with her student loans? Not congratulations. Not pride. Just immediate calculation of how my success could benefit someone else. Cost: joy in achievement permanently stolen. Recovery: impossible. March 2022. Bought the beach house. Mom asked for keys in case of emergency. Used them 6 times in first year for family gatherings I wasn't invited to. Discovered this when neighbors mentioned your mother's parties. Cost: privacy, security, boundary violation. Recovery: ongoing trust damage. June 2022. Cousin Isabella visits beach house without permission. Brings 8 friends. Leaves wine stains on custom sofa, cigarette burns on deck. Damage: $8,400 in repairs. Isabella's response when I mention it: it's just a house. Cost: respect, financial loss. Recovery: change security codes too late. October 2022. Mom tells relatives at family dinner that I'm too busy with work to settle down. I'd been engaged for 3 months. She hadn't asked about my life. She talked about Isabella's relationship for 40 minutes. Cost: invisibility in own family. Recovery: stopped attending dinners. April 2023. Donated gala venue worth $25,000 in rental fees. Mom's only comment: that's nice. Week later, spent 90 minutes discussing Isabella's need for wedding venue. Never connected that I might help. Cost: being seen as ATM not person. Recovery: none attempted. The ledger ran to 34 entries. Each one a small theft of dignity, respect, acknowledgement. Each one I'd absorbed because family doesn't keep score. But family, I was learning, was a word they weaponized when they needed something. Disappeared when I needed them. The psychological term is intermittent reinforcement. Like a slot machine, my family gave me just enough. A birthday card here, a proud of you there, to keep me feeding coins of time, money, and emotional labor. But slot machines are designed to take. They're not wired to give back proportionally. Neither was my family. The origin moment had been quiet. Not dramatic. Just a Tuesday morning 4 weeks ago when I'd called Mom to share news. I'd been offered a position as Chief Medical Officer at Peninsula Healthcare. $480,000 salary. Leadership role I'd worked toward for a decade. That's wonderful, honey, she'd said, voice distracted. Then, without transition, listen, Isabella's wedding is coming up. She's struggling to find an affordable venue. You have that beach house sitting empty most weekends. Could we? No, I'd said. What do you mean no? Family helps family. You have this beautiful property just sitting there. No, I'd repeated and hung up. The coffee in my hand had been the perfect temperature. The morning light through my window had been golden. And I'd realized with absolute clarity that they saw me as a resource to be extracted, not a person to be valued. Apparently, no wasn't an answer they accepted. By Thursday afternoon, I'd documented everything. Screenshots of the invoice. Photos of the contract Sophia sent showing Mom's forged signature as property owner. Security system logs showing Mom's 17 unauthorized entries over the past 6 months. Bank records showing I'd never received the $5,000 deposit she'd pocketed. I called my attorney at 3:15 p.m. Sarah, I need to discuss property fraud and identity theft. How bad? My mother's been representing herself as owner of my beach house. Contracted it out for my cousin's wedding. Took a $5,000 deposit. Authorized $15,000 in services. Get me everything. I'll have papers filed by tomorrow morning. By Friday afternoon, Sarah had filed emergency injunction papers preventing anyone but me from accessing the property. By Friday evening, the locks were changed, security codes updated, and cameras installed at every entry point. Mom called at 7:32 p.m., her voice tight with barely controlled rage. What did you do? The event planner called saying the wedding is canceled. She mentioned police and fraud investigations. Isabella is devastated. How could you? I was sitting on my beach house deck, watching the sunset paint the ocean in copper and rose. How could I? How could you? We were solving a problem. Isabella needed a venue. You have this place sitting empty. It's my place. Not community property for you to rent out. I paused. You forged documents claiming to be the owner. You took a $5,000 deposit. You authorized $15,000 in services using my property as collateral. That's fraud, Mom. Criminal fraud. Family doesn't press charges over family matters. Family doesn't commit felonies using each other's property. You're not family. You're thieves who share my DNA. She hung up on me. I finished my wine, watched the stars emerge over the Pacific, and felt something close to peace. The investigation moved with bureaucratic precision. County Fraud Unit requested all documentation. I provided security footage of Mom giving unauthorized property tours to vendors, the forged venue contract, bank records showing the deposit she'd kept, email chains proving I was never consulted. They interviewed me for 2 hours, establishing clear timeline and intent. Then they interviewed Mom, Dad, and Isabella. Each interrogation added to the case file. The event planner, Sophia Ramirez, provided her statement voluntarily. She included documentation of Mom's misrepresentation, the forged ownership claims, the liability insurance applications submitted under false pretenses. She noted the Children's Hospital Gala specifically, establishing I had a pattern of legitimate generosity, making this unauthorized use even more egregious. Property records confirmed my sole ownership. Security logs showed Mom's repeated unauthorized entries. The title company confirmed no one but me had legal authority to contract the property's use. The district attorney's office contacted me on day 12. They were considering filing charges: criminal impersonation, fraud, identity theft, theft by deception. Did I want to proceed? I thought about that ledger. 34 entries of small thefts. Years of being invisible except when they needed something. Yes, I said. The charges were filed on a Monday morning. Mom hired an attorney who immediately tried negotiation. Sarah, my attorney, listened to their offer: probation, restitution, family therapy, public apology, and looked at me. Your call, she said. I thought about Isabella's devastation according to Mom. About family loyalty. About the slot machine I'd fed for years, waiting for love to drop out. No deal, I said. Trial. The family responses came in predictable waves. 23 missed calls in week 1. 67 texts ranging from pleading, "We're family," to threatening, "You'll regret this." I blocked every number. Dad showed up at my hospital. Security escorted him out. Extended family got involved. Aunts called me vindictive. Uncles sent religious guilt emails. I replied with a link to "Thou shalt not steal," and blocked them systematically. Isabella posted on social media about family betrayal ruining her dream wedding. She received 200 sympathetic comments until someone asked why she needed someone else's property for her dream. She deleted the post within 4 hours. The trial in month 3 was systematic and devastating. Security footage showed Mom giving property tours, discussing logistics, presenting herself as owner. The audio was clear. My daughter's place. She's always so busy with work. Barely uses it. Happy to help family. The jury's faces shifted. Visible judgment. Sophia Ramirez testified about the gala, about my pattern of legitimate generosity, about Mom's systematic deception that exploited that generosity. She was calm, factual, devastating. The bank representative testified about the $5,000 deposit Mom had kept. Money paid for use of property she didn't own. The title company representative testified that only I had legal authority. That Mom's signature as property owner was fraudulent. The prosecutor showed the ghost ledger, 34 entries of systematic exploitation. The jury saw the pattern: a family that took and took and took, then took more when told no. Guilty on all counts. The verdict came back in 5 hours. Sentencing took another 2 weeks. Mom received 18 months probation, $23,000 in fines and restitution, $5,000 deposit plus $15,000 contracted services plus $3,000 in legal fees, 250 hours community service and a permanent record. The judge called her actions a profound betrayal of parental trust and exploitation of familial access for financial gain. Dad received 12 months probation for complicity. He'd known and said nothing. Isabella received suspended sentence but was ordered to pay $8,400 restitution for the property damage from her unauthorized party. The judge issued a permanent restraining order at my request. Mom, Dad, and Isabella couldn't contact me, approach my properties, or discuss me on social media. The courtroom was completely silent when the judge finally finished. Mom's face had gone gray. Dad stared at his hands. Isabella cried obviously, but it felt performative. Manipulative tears that had worked on me for years but meant nothing now. I felt nothing. Not triumph. Not regret. Just profound completion. 8 months later, I'm sitting on my beach house deck watching morning light turn the ocean silver and gold. My properties are exactly as they should be. Mine. Secure. Private. Sacred spaces I share only with people who respect boundaries. I've learned that family isn't about blood or obligation. It's about respect, reciprocity, mutual care. Real family doesn't forge your signature. Doesn't rent out your property without permission. Doesn't treat your generosity as weakness to exploit. Real family asks. Respects, no. Celebrates your success without immediately calculating how they can benefit. I don't have that family anymore. What I have instead is better. Sovereignty over my life, spaces that are truly mine, and the hard-won knowledge that some relationships cost more than they're worth. Sophia Ramirez and I meet quarterly now. She handles events at both my properties, with proper contracts, fair compensation, mutual respect. She calls it working with someone who understands the value of yes and no. The ghost ledger sits in a locked drawer. I don't need to look at it anymore. But I keep it as evidence for myself. A reminder that I'm not crazy, not selfish, not wrong. I was right to protect what I built. Right to enforce boundaries. Right to demand basic respect. The account is closed. The debt is paid. The balance is exactly where it should be. 0. And I am finally completely free.